Hello everyone, I'm the Peculiar Pisces and welcome to my channel. Today is Monday, December 2nd, 2024. And I'm back with an update from all of my cross stitches. I did not purchase anything this last week, so there's no stitchy mail. I did want to show you something. I signed up for a class at the library to be able to learn and use the 3D printer. And as long as you take the class at the library, then you can book time and you can print out and do your projects. They do have a limit because they only have like 3 machines at my library, which is awesome. Three 3D printing machines. And like you can only do like a 6-hour time block. So if your project is too big, you have to like split it in half and get it down to 6 hours. Anyway, the project that we were learning was how to make buttons. And yeah, we made buttons because the guy said that pretty much anything that you need to do, you learn how to do when you're making a button. And then we personalized our buttons, and then they gave us free reign. And the other thing that I printed out was the symbol from the Never Ending Story. That was the main purpose in me wanting to take this class to begin with, because I'm bookbinding and my goal is to redo all the books on my shelf. And I do own the Never Ending Story. And so when I get to it, I want to print 3D print out the symbol and then probably hand paint it and maybe set some like some Swarovski crystals or something, because the book description, um, the Auryn symbol has stones in its eyes. So anyway, but like I thought 3D printing it, this is not the size for the book. I'm going to probably scale it a little bit bigger, but when we took the class afterwards, we had 20 minutes for each person total to print out whatever we wanted. And there were several kids in the class, so I let all the kids do whatever they wanted to first, and the adults that were accompanying those kids. And so like this took to do this button and this symbol, which are pretty small, pretty thin. The orange symbol did need what's called supports, and they're just because it's shaped weird, and like there's all the holes and stuff, so it printed out these little things, and then afterwards I had to tear them all off to get it how it is. But what I want to do is print it out scaled for the size of the book so that it looks much like the movie book. And it would be cheaper to 3D print as opposed to metal casting or trying to buy one off of Etsy off of someone, so I can do it myself. And my library, they charge 5 cents per gram, but your first 20 grams are free. So uh, anything that I would need to print out for doing for books would probably fall under the free quality. So anyway, that was like my big thing. That was a craft that I did that was not cross stitching that I wanted to share. And I loved that my library offered the class and the tools and the stuff. It was pretty cool, a pretty cool experience. And my library also has like the laser engraving and a CNC machine, and they also have a silhouette machine, but they don't have those classes as often. And it doesn't matter because I know that I'm getting a Cricut for Christmas. It's my Christmas gift, and with the Black Friday sales, it's already purchased and on the way. So um, that solves that problem, and I'll be able to start redoing my library. And I'm so excited to be able to share that when I finally get to it. So let's start with my updates for my 4 projects. My first project is project number 1, the favorite designer project. And I started with Teresa Wentzler because I already had a boatload of patterns. I did when I chose this one, I did look at all of my patterns and I sort of looked at the complexity of them. And in my opinion, the castle, which is this one right here on the cover of the Best of Teresa Wentzler Volume 1, in my opinion, the castle looked like it was the easiest one to do. And I have to agree because a lot of the other book patterns here have um, special stitches, or they're full coverage, or it's a sampler, or just whatever. So, and then all the other patterns that I had too, it's just this one looked like it was the easiest. So here's my progress. Ooh, the lighting, not great. So I am working on the back stitching. The last time I filmed, I think I was still working on the castle. So I did finish doing all the back stitching on the castle and all through here and down sort of into the grassy area. And then it had me doing some back stitching along the blue here and on the dragon's underbelly. And then that finished out that color of thread. And then now I am on a different color, that it was the back stitching around these spines. And then I've also done the spines that are up here. And then it's also the mountain. This mountain is done. And I am currently working on this mountain, doing the back stitching. It's a very light color, but you can see it. You can see it around the scales and the little bit that I've started at the mountain, and then you can see it up here some. So I have put, where is it? It's over here. I am now up to, I put 4 hours, 23 minutes, and 48 seconds into it this last week. And that brings my total for the back stitching up to 9 hours, 25 minutes, and 14 seconds. So I am just plugging along. I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more instructions that I have to do with different threads, plus the one that I'm still working on, which is 7. So I'm just plugging along. The back's looking pretty cool though. Like, it's all a mess. Like, this is definitely one of my more messier backs than I have had in a while. Okay. And then project number 2 is Pentecost by Practical Blackwork on Etsy. And there it is. I have just been, I finished these triangles, and then I started working on this diamond bit here. I decided to try to do it a little bit differently than I had the last time. And I think the way that I'm doing it this time is a lot easier, because I only worked for an hour and I got I got all of whatever I had left to do here done. And then I got all of this done, like, to here. So, I mean, I'm really happy with the progress that I got on it. It wasn't quite an hour. It was almost an hour. That is 18 count hand-dyed fabric 1/1. Okay, now I need to find the right section. When I started writing these, I did not give myself enough space in between, and so I had to transfer to like different parts in the notebook, and so now everything's like all out of order. Yeah, I only got to work on this 56 minutes and 54 seconds, so that's brought my total project time to 85 hours, 3 minutes, and 41 seconds. And then project number 3. There we go. Project number 3 is by Heaven and Earth Designs. It is called Fae Risque and is by Amy Brown. I have the no background version. This is what it looks like. I am doing my own blue conversion. This is the picture that I printed out of Pattern Keeper. So I believe, these are a few. Okay, so I believe the last time that I filmed, I was just starting the tip of this wing coming down. So I finished out this wing, and this is the start of her hair. And I think I go up a few more, and then I think that like finishes out this page. So then I'll just start, here and work my way up, and then just keep plugging along. At least till January. In January, I will be starting something new. Just to give myself a break from this one because I've been working on that for so long. Oh, so this is the area that I am right here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then two rows before it hits the shaded column. So yeah, that is a lot. It is. I am actually forgot. I am now at 10,599 stitches out of 74,797, and I am at 14.1%. So yeah. And this area with her hair, it is a lot of DMC 310. A lot. I think the whole stitch called for 5 skeins, but that was supposed to be on 25 count. So I think I took like 8 skeins to be sure, something like that, knowing that there were so many. In fact, I still have 13,734 of 310 to go. So this project now brings my time up to right section here. I got to work on it in 1 hour and 43 minutes and 59 seconds. So that's brought my total time to 113 hours, 29 minutes and 3 seconds. And that is 22 count hand-dyed fabric. And finally, excuse me. finally, project number 4. I have just been plugging along on the backstitch. I have almost finished out like this section down here is the section that I'm working on. Everything else up here I finished. I don't know if you can see the white backstitching very well in the hydrangeas. Like I feel like I can see it a little bit around here and a little bit here. It's very hard to see. I might go over it with a second layer of white just to make it pop a little more, because it is, even for me to see it, and I know that it's there, it's difficult to see, I think. But all of this is outlined. We got some curly cues. I finished out the flower. I finished up, I think I did this one, and I did some stuff here. But the flower was the big, this pink flower was the big thing that got a lot of the attention the last time. So yeah, I'm somewhere in here about to do white. As I said, I will try 2 strands of the backstitch when I try this section, and see if I like that better. And if I do, I'll just go over the area that I did before, so that it just so that it pops a little more, because I feel like it doesn't show up very well. Like you have to really look at it to see it. It's a little too subtle for me, I think. And that is 14 count Aida, not the provided kit fabric. I hand dyed that one myself. I got an hour and 13 minutes and 43 seconds on it last week, and that brought my total project time to 66 hours, 12 minutes, and 44 seconds. Yeah, as soon as I finish the few little bits in here, then I'll be ready to shift my Q-snap back, and then I'll finish doing most of the back stitching on what's over here. Most of that is finished up to, there's like another hydrangea. You know, I didn't show the picture at the beginning. I didn't talk about it. I just went straight into it, didn't I? Let me start that over. This is a Plaid Bucilla kit. Donna Dewberry is the designer, and is called Hummingbird and Floral. So this is the area that I'm in. And I don't know, how well can you see that in the picture? I feel like you can see it a little bit better than you can see it on mine. So I do think that I will do 2 strands of white. I just don't like how it looks, so I think I'm going to do for 2 strands, even though it calls for white. But I still have most of this, because this is, I think this is where I started. So most of this is done, except for where it starts into the purple hydrangea here. So I've got, oh my, purple here, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 small pink flowers, 1, 2, 3 mixed in there. So I still do have quite a bit of stitching, but the bottom half is almost fully complete. Like, Yeah, I took it around this leaf, so I still need this pink flower down here, and it starts in this purple hydrangea here. So just I went up along this leaf and then down. So I have like the top half and the hummingbird to do for stitching. But I will finish out my back stitch first in those areas and then stitching, and then probably finish the hummingbird last. So I will continue working on this until January. January is the year of new starts. It is the new year, new start, new start, new start, new start. Everything's going to be new, providing I get some of my fabric in time. I ordered a fabric from Bestitch Me, and so far I still haven't gotten any sort of a shipping notification, which the website said when I purchased it, it did say 3 to 12 weeks. So I'm just sort of hoping that it gets here before January for whenever I start. And I still need to I need to look at my dyes and see if I have a tan or neutral one, or I might just mix up some coffee and tea. But the sampler that I'm going to start in January to give myself a break from this Blackwork, um, the Dutch girl, I forget what it's called, Dutch beauty, Dutch something. I want to tea and coffee dye it, or have it dyed like brownish, like I want it to look old and mottled, and I want it to look old. So I will probably end up doing a dyeing video for that one. I'm doing that one on, I think it's 14 count fabric. It might be 16 count. It was some of that fabric that I got way early in the year from Facebook Marketplace. I think it was the Facebook Marketplace. I'm not on Facebook anymore, and I haven't been on since June, like the middle of June. So I can't really remember anymore. But anyway, I got a whole bunch of fabric earlier in the year, this year, and some of it was 18 count, some of it was 16 count, some of it was 14 count, some of it was 14 count that was in the plastic rectangular containers, envelope things. Some of it was in a tube. I I have enough. I believe it's 14 count. I have enough for the piece, and it's going to be huge. That piece, it didn't give me specific measurements. So what I did was I counted the blocks in the pattern. That's my dryer. I counted the blocks in the pattern, and so it's like my best guess. It's like it's not specifically written down there, like the castle is 170 by 198. It's not specifically written for the Dutch beauty, Dutch babe. So I just, okay, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, all the way. So I'm just sort of crossing my fingers and hoping that I more or less did that right. And I put the measurements that I got into one of the fabric calculators. And so I do have enough fabric that I don't need to buy any. And it will be the right size. I'm only going to have 1.5 inch borders on the two sides, but the other two sides I can have either a 2 or a 3 inch border, but I might just make it even so that it's even. But anyway, I do have that fabric, and it is white, so I want to dye it either with tea or with coffee or with both, or if I have, I can't remember if I have a neutral I know I have pearl gray in Rit dyes, liquid, but I'll have to see what dyes I have and which ones I can get a hold of at the craft store. But I have to do it in the next few weeks. I might do that as a live video, simply because that video is going to take a while. I'm very particular when I'm mixing up my colors, like super particular. So like that video is going to take a while because I'm basically like Mrs. Wizard Sciencey. I'm Mrs. Nye, the science girl, whatever, whoever the science TV show personalities are now. But I'm very, very, very particular as I'm mixing it up, and it takes me a while, and I don't have the space or the memory on my computer to do a video that long. In fact, when I did my going through my stash, um, video that was, I don't know, back in June or July, something like that. That was almost an hour-long video, and my computer, which is a relatively new computer, it just doesn't have a lot of space. And I've had to like decrease the qualities of my videos a little bit in order to fit everything. So like it would be easier for me if it were like a live video and I just sort of set my laptop on my countertop. And for the most part, you probably won't even see my face. You'll just see my hands as I'm mixing, and I'll try talking while I'm doing it. But a live video would probably be optimal, which you can then watch in, excuse me. So that you can watch it in replay. But I think that's how I might have to do it. Just set my laptop up on the counter and just show you my process so that you can see it's not anything special, but it works for me, and I've been very pleased with all of everything that I dyed. All four of my pieces this year were hand dyed by me, so I'm quite pleased with how they all turned out in general. So I just really need to decide like what kind of tan or khaki color. Like, I mean, I have coffee and I have lots of teas. Maybe I'll try different teas in my cabinet and sort of make it an experiment because, I've got some that are black teas. I've got some that are lighter, paler teas, and then I've got a green tea. I have no idea how a green tea would affect cross stitch fabric. So maybe let's have that experience together. But yeah, that will be my first time with tea or coffee dyeing too. So it will really, really be an experience. But I think a live video will be the way to go. So just keep an eye out on replay uh, before the new year gets in. In fact, I'm gonna have to do it before my kids go off for Christmas vacation, which is in like a couple of weeks. So I have to really nail this down then. And yeah. So I will see everybody next week, probably. Oh, I didn't give my NaNoWriMo update. Uh, I wrote every single day for the month of November except for 4 days. 2 days at the beginning because of the snow days and my kids were home and I just could not find the time to get anything done. And I just wasn't in the right frame of mind. And the other 2 days that I didn't write is because so when I started, I was just a little bit over 40,000. I don't know, 41, 42-ish. I can't really remember my beginning, but it was between 41 and 43, I'll say. And like I knew this events that needed to happen. I just didn't know how long to stretch it. So I knew how the book is supposed to end. So I wrote the ending. And then when I wrote the ending, I went back and reread for 2 days what I had written to refamiliarize myself with what had already happened so that I didn't. I found myself writing things and mentioning what already happened in the ending. And I was like, wait a minute, that hasn't happened yet. And so, like, I had to make sure that I didn't ruin it or lose the plot. So I am at, as of yesterday, December 1st, I am at 78,363 words. Nano wouldn't let me update past the 30th. I tried. I didn't refresh my page and tried to just update it and see if it would take, but it didn't work. So in NaNoWriMo, I am perpetually stuck at 96% complete on the book, but I am beyond that. I only have roughly 1,600 words in which to finish, at least, and to finish where I'm at to get it to my ending. So I don't know if that's going to take me one chapter that's going to be one of my little wordier chapters to get it done, or if it's going to end up being split into two chapters. I'm not sure until I actually sit down to write it, to marry the two parts. That's why I don't like to write like that where there's other parts written, because then it's trying to get those two to come together seamlessly. But I did write every day, and I am like 98% done with the book right now. Like, I'm so close to finishing it. Like, I don't feel like I failed at Nano. Like, I do feel like I accomplished. I didn't get my goal of finishing it before the end of the month, but it's so close. It's so close. And it's gonna be it's gonna be hard writing this chapter or these last two chapters. So that was my progress. Like, I won, but I didn't win. It depends on how you look at it. Like, I didn't meet my goal of hitting the 80,000 words, because I didn't hit the 80,000, and I didn't finish the story. But I did write every single day, and I got into a nice little routine for my writing. And um, the next few days until I get to sit down and finish it, I just want to finish my story, and then I will probably focus on these projects, and I might monogamously stitch the Teresa Wentzler to get it done, because I really want it done, and I want to finish before 2024 ends. So I don't know. We'll see. Next week when I update, we'll see exactly what I did. But for right now, spitballing it, I kind of think I'm going to end up monogamously stitching on the Teresa Wentzler. So I will see everyone next week.